The world thought they knew why Michael Jackson changed his appearance. For 30 years, the media told the same story. Plastic surgery addiction, self-hatred, a black man trying to become white. But they were wrong. When he died in 2009, the autopsy revealed a truth that should have made everyone ashamed. This is the real story, and when you hear it, it will break your heart. Hit subscribe to discover the truth the media hid. Early 1980s, Thriller was breaking every record, but something was happening to his body. Michael started noticing white patches on his skin, small at first, on his hands, then spreading. He went to doctors, diagnosis, vitiligo, an autoimmune disease that destroys the melanin in your skin. There was no cure. The patches would keep spreading, unpredictable, uncontrollable, for the most photographed man in the world, a nightmare, a black man whose identity was tied to his appearance. And now his skin was betraying him, white patches everywhere. Michael tried to hide it. Makeup, heavy makeup. He didn't want anyone to know, but by the mid-1980s, people noticed. Michael's skin looked lighter. Instead of understanding, the media turned vicious. They said he was bleaching his skin, that he wanted to be white, that he hated being black. None of it was true. But vitiligo wasn't Michael's only problem. He was also diagnosed with lupus, systemic lupus erythematosus, another autoimmune disease. This one attacked his entire body. Visible symptoms, lesions on his face, painful sores on his nose and cheeks. The sun made it worse. He always carried an umbrella. Media mocked him, Wacko Jacko. They didn't know he was in pain. That sunlight could leave him bedridden for days. The lupus medication made things worse. Steroids to control inflammation. Side effect, facial swelling. His face would puff up, then slim down when dosage changed. The media analyzed every photo, called him bizarre. They had no idea he was trying to survive. And then came the accident. January 27th, 1984. Michael was filming a Pepsi commercial. The biggest endorsement deal in history. Pyrotechnics fired too early. Michael's hair caught fire. He kept dancing. By the time someone put out the flames, the damage was done. Second-degree burns across his scalp. Hair follicles permanently damaged. Severe scar tissue. Multiple surgeries needed. Skin grafts, hair transplants, anything to hide the burns. The pain never fully went away. Chronic headaches, migraines, doctors prescribed painkillers, strong ones, the beginning of Michael's dependence on pain medication. But the media, they mocked his changing hairstyles, made jokes about wigs. They had no idea his scalp had been burned. 3 medical conditions beyond his control. Vitiligo spreading across his skin. Lupus causing painful lesions. Severe burns from the Pepsi accident. None were choices. All required intervention. The world didn't know. Medical conditions were only part of the story. Psychological trauma inflicted since childhood. By the one man who should have protected him. His father, Joseph Jackson. Joseph was brutal. Physical abuse, emotional abuse. And his favorite target was Michael's appearance. "You have a fat nose, you're ugly, you look like a girl." Joseph said these things repeatedly, in front of everyone. Michael internalized every word. He believed he was ugly. Years later, Michael would say he couldn't look in the mirror without hearing his father's voice, calling him ugly, mocking his nose. It destroyed his self-image. When vitiligo spread, when lupus caused lesions, he didn't just see medical problems. He saw confirmation of what his father had always told him, that he was ugly. 1979. Broke his nose in a dance accident, deviated septum. The surgery was medically necessary, but the surgeon made a mistake. His breathing got worse. A second surgery to correct it. Then lupus started causing lesions on his nose. Scar tissue built up. More surgeries to remove damaged tissue. Each surgery weakened the cartilage. Vitiligo was spreading across his nose too, creating discolored patches. Michael kept going back, trying to fix the damage. Each surgery made things worse. Eventually, he needed a prosthetic to support his nose structure. Media didn't know about lupus or scar tissue. They just saw nose job after nose job, called him addicted, surgery on his chin. Natural cleft bothered him. Why? Because his father had the same cleft. Joseph had told him, "You look just like me, and I hate it." So Michael removed it. He couldn't stand seeing his father's face. And then the biggest lie, that he was trying to become white. Media said it constantly. Tabloids, comedians, everyone. Even some in the black community accused him of betraying his race. But it was never true. Michael had vitiligo. By late 1980s, white patches covered most of his body. He had two choices: dark makeup to cover white patches, or depigmentation cream to lighten remaining dark patches and even out skin tone. Michael chose the second option. Not because he wanted to be white, because having a face half dark and half white was impossible to hide. His dermatologist prescribed Benequin to even skin tone, medical treatment for a diagnosed condition. But when Michael explained this, nobody believed him. In 1993, Michael sat with Oprah. 90 million people watched. Oprah asked about his skin. Michael told the truth. "I have a skin disorder that destroys the pigmentation. It's in my family. We're trying to control it. Why would I not want to be black? I'm proud to be black. This is my race." The audience applauded. But the next day, tabloids ran the same stories. Michael Jackson denies bleaching. Experts skeptical. The lie was easier to believe. Michael stopped trying to explain. The more the media attacked, the more surgeries he had. The more he changed, the more they attacked. A vicious cycle. By the 2000s, Michael looked very different. The world judged him, called him a freak, a cautionary tale, a man who destroyed himself with vanity. But they were wrong. Michael was suffering from painful autoimmune diseases, scarred by a horrific accident, carrying deep psychological wounds from childhood abuse. He wasn't destroying himself. He was trying to survive. June 25, 2009. Michael Jackson died. The news shocked the world. Tributes poured in. But so did the tabloid stories, the plastic surgery, the bizarre behavior, the self-hatred. Then the autopsy report was released. The LA County coroner performed a full examination. What they found proved Michael had been telling the truth all along. The autopsy confirmed vitiligo, patches of depigmented skin across his entire body. The autopsy confirmed lupus, scarring consistent with the disease. The autopsy found Benequin cream, the depigmentation medication for vitiligo. The autopsy found a prosthetic in his nose, exactly what he'd need after multiple surgeries weakened the cartilage. The autopsy found evidence of Pepsi fire burns, scar tissue on his scalp. Every single thing Michael Jackson had said was true. He had vitiligo, he had lupus, he used cream to even his skin tone. He had medical reasons for surgeries. He wasn't trying to be white. He wasn't addicted to plastic surgery out of vanity. He was a sick man trying to manage painful conditions. trying to hide scars, trying to survive while the world watched and judged. The media that had spent 30 years calling him a liar was forced to acknowledge the truth. Some outlets published quiet corrections. Most moved on. Nobody apologized. Not the tabloids, not the comedians, not the people who accused him of hating his blackness. Michael Jackson had told the truth. The world had called him a liar for 30 years, and now he was dead. The vindication came too late. Michael's family spoke out. His mother, Catherine, his siblings. They confirmed everything. The vitiligo, the lupus, the pain he lived with daily, the way media cruelty had broken his spirit. Joe Jackson gave an interview years later, asked about calling Michael ugly, about mocking his nose. Joe shrugged. I was just trying to toughen him up. But Michael never developed thick skin. He remained sensitive, vulnerable, hurt by every cruel word, from his father, the media, strangers who felt entitled to judge him. In the years since Michael's death, the truth has slowly spread. Documentaries covered his vitiligo and lupus. Medical experts explained how the diseases affected his appearance. Fans worked to educate people, but the damage is done. An entire generation believed Michael hated himself, that he wanted to be white, that he was bizarre and self-destructive. None of it was true. Michael Jackson suffered from disease, from trauma, from relentless public scrutiny. He tried to tell the truth. Nobody wanted to listen. There's a recording from the early 2000s, Michael talking to a friend about the plastic surgery rumors. You know what hurts the most? His voice is soft, sad. It's not that they think I had surgery. It's that they think I hate myself, that I hate being black. I would never. I'm proud of who I am. I just wanted the pain to stop. The pain never stopped. Not the physical pain from his diseases, not the emotional pain from his father's abuse, not the psychological pain from media attacks. Michael carried all that pain until he died, and even in death, the lies persisted, until the autopsy forced the world to confront the truth. Michael Jackson didn't change his appearance because he hated himself. He changed because his body was sick, because vitiligo was destroying his skin, because lupus caused painful lesions, because an accident left permanent scars, because his father convinced him he was ugly, because the media made him feel like a monster, and because he was human, fragile, vulnerable, desperately trying to survive in a world that showed him no mercy. The next time you see an old photo of Michael Jackson, don't see a man who destroyed himself. See a man who was suffering, who was doing his best to manage painful conditions, who was mocked for things he couldn't control, and who died before the world was willing to believe his truth. That's the real story, and it's heartbreaking.